He looked like a grandfather. He coached Little League. He paid his taxes. But for 45 years, he was hiding a secret darker than anyone could imagine. He murdered 5 women across 3 states and got away with it, until a forgotten piece of DNA and a coffee cup from a trash can brought him down. Until a forgotten piece of DNA and a coffee cup from a trash can brought him down. This is not fiction. This is the terrifying true story of a serial killer finally caught after nearly half a century. It was July 11, 1978. 23-year-old Linda Shaw, a college student from a quiet suburban town, left home for an evening jog. She was in her final year, studying psychology. She was engaged, loved by her professors, and never missed her nightly routine. But that night, she didn't return. Her parents called the police before midnight. A search began immediately. Neighbors, volunteers, and officers combed the neighborhood. 2 days later, Linda's body was discovered near a wood trail 2 miles from her home. Her death was brutal. The crime scene was chilling, but there were no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no suspects. The only clue? A single cigarette butt just outside the area where her body was found. Back in 1978, there was no DNA testing, no national forensic database. The cigarette was logged, stored, and slowly forgotten. The murder devastated the community, and it wouldn't be the last. Over the next 6 years, 4 more young women went missing, in 3 different towns within a 100-mile radius. 1980, Stephanie Yates, 19, disappeared walking home from her part-time job. 1981, Carla Mendez, 24, abducted outside a library. 1983, Janice Patel, 22, found dead near a rest stop off Interstate 40. 1984, Emily Brooks, 25, vanished after attending a late-night college study group. Each crime shared disturbing similarities. No witnesses, strangled, not stabbed or shot, little to no evidence left behind. All women fit a similar profile. Educated, brunette, 5 foot to 5'6", between 19 and 25. At the time, no one connected them. Different jurisdictions, different police departments. No internet, no national case database. Each case was logged, investigated, and eventually closed as cold. But somewhere out there, the man responsible was still watching, still hiding, still living. In 2019, the State Bureau of Cold Case Investigations received new funding to revisit unsolved homicides using advanced forensic tools. Detective Sarah Miles, a 32-year-old with a reputation for spotting details others missed, reviewed the Shaw case. She came across the old cigarette butt, stored in evidence for over 4 decades. Now, with modern DNA extraction, they ran it through GED Match, a genealogy database used by private citizens to trace ancestry. A hit came back, not to a suspect, but to a second cousin in Oregon. This led to a family tree with over 300 names. Detectives worked backward, eliminating the young, the dead, the female, and narrowed the match down to one man, Thomas Greer, now 74 years old, retired, living in a small town in Iowa. Greer had no criminal record. He was a high school chemistry teacher for 28 years, married, 2 kids, 5 grandchildren. He volunteered at food drives, read at his church, and coached Little League baseball. But behind his ordinary life was something monstrous. Detective Miles didn't make a move right away. They needed hard evidence. So the FBI launched Operation Echo, a 6-week surveillance plan. They tracked Greer's movements, his habits, his grocery runs. They watched and waited. Until one day, in April 2024, Greer walked out of a diner and tossed a coffee cup in a public trash can. Agents recovered it within 15 minutes. Forensic testing began immediately. The DNA on that coffee cup matched the cigarette butt found at Linda Shaw's murder scene 45 years earlier. There was no doubt. On May 2nd, 2024, at 7:32 a.m., police knocked on Thomas Greer's door. He answered with a calm smile. "Mr. Greer," the detective said, "you're under arrest for the murder of Linda Shaw." Greer blinked, paused, then said, "I knew this day would come." At the station, he refused to speak, No confession, no denial, just silence. Investigators then began linking him to the other 4 murders using location history, archived employment records, and a chilling notebook found in his attic containing dates and coded notes. Each one matched the timeline of the murders. The man everyone thought they knew was hiding in plain sight for almost 5 decades. When the news broke, headlines exploded. Serial killer caught after 45 years. DNA and trash lead to justice. The teacher with a terrifying secret. Families of the victims, many now elderly, were stunned. Some cried. Some were angry. Some had waited their entire lives to hear those words, "We got him." Linda Shaw's brother said, "We were told to move on, that we'd never find out who did this, but we never stopped hoping. Now we finally know." Emily Brooks' mother, now in her 80s, said, "He lived a good life while our daughter never came home. Where's the justice in that?" Experts began dissecting Thomas Greer's behavior. How could a man live such a normal life after committing such horrible crimes? Criminal profiler Dr. Ann Levy explained, "He was a classic organized offender. Intelligent, calculated, controlled. He selected victims carefully, left no evidence, and then vanished back into society. The terrifying part? He likely had the urge to kill again, but found ways to suppress it. Or maybe he didn't stop at 5. Greer showed zero remorse during evaluation. When asked directly by a forensic psychologist, "Do you regret what you did?" he replied, "I regret being caught." After the arrest, authorities reopened cold cases from across 3 states. They believe Greer may be connected to at least 9 other unsolved murders between 1976 and 1985. Similar method, similar victim profile, same regions, but the trail is cold. And without confessions or surviving evidence, they may never know the full count. One retired officer said, "He's not just a killer, he's a ghost. He vanished every time." Greer is currently being held without bail. His trial is scheduled for late 2025. He faces 5 counts of first-degree murder and potentially more as investigations continue. This story is more than just about one man. It's about what happens when cases go cold, when families are left without answers, when time becomes the enemy of justice. But it's also about hope, because even after 45 years, justice still found a way. Detective Sarah Miles closed her statement with this: "This case shows what can happen when we don't give up. No matter how long it takes, truth leaves a trail. And sometimes all we need is one match." If this case moved you, don't let these victims be forgotten. Hit the subscribe button and follow our channel for more deep dive true crime stories, cold cases, and justice finally served.